Above it follows that all his longing should be only for the sake of the Creator. Silent workshop. Let's ask together to bring contentment to the Creator. Let's ask together to bring contentment to the Creator. Shalom. We are reading from Rabash, the article What Are Banners in the work. You can find the study material in and the AR system, and you can send live questions to our sites. Whoever asks a question here in the study hall is asked to stand up, hold the microphone close to his mouth and speak loud and clear. Your Rabash writing the article What Are Banners in the work. It says about the verse, each man by his own banner it is written, we will sing in your salvation, and in the name of our God we will set up our banners. Israel said to the Creator, we sing in your salvation, which you did for us. In your name we will sing in your salvation, and in that day the Lord will save Israel. It is written, will save, as though Israel are saved, and as though he is saved, and in the name of our God we will set up our banners. Marvishik of 1. What does it mean that the Creator established his name in our name? 2. Why is it written, will save, as though Israel are saved, and as though he is saved? Concerning what is written, will save, it is interpreted that the meaning is and will be saved. 3. Skipping from rule to rule. It is known that the name of the Creator is the good, who does good, that is he always wants to bestow upon the creatures delight and pleasure, for which he created in the creatures the desire to yearn to always receive delight and pleasure. Accordingly, there is a question, why are the creatures not feeling the delight and pleasure, but rather the whole world suffers from lack of pleasure and satisfaction in life? For every sensible person asks, what is the meaning of our lives? The answer is that the Creator made a correction so that when we receive a delight and pleasure from the Creator, we will not feel shame about it, which stems from the disparity of form between the receiver, who is the creature, and the Creator, who is the giver. The correction is that before a person has the desire to bestow, which is in order to be an equivalence of form, it is impossible to receive the real abundance that the Creator wants to impart upon the creatures. And since the desire to bestow is against human nature, we learn that there are 17 nations of the world within men. In other words, each person is a small world. It is written in the Zohar, and the quality of Israel in man is under the governance of the nations of the world. For this reason the people of Israel this is regarded as the people of Israel being in exile among the nations, when they haven't the strength to go against the desire of the nations of the world. For this reason the people of Israel ask the Creator to deliver them from the exile they're in among the nations, meaning to be able to work for the sake of the Creator. Also our sages said, Israel who exiled thee is with them. We should interpret this the way Bam said about what our sages said, a disciple who is exiled, his teacher is exiled with him. He said that this means that when the disciple is in exile, meaning suffers a descent in his eyes, his teacher is also in descent. That is, when a person is in descent, he has no taste in Torah and prayer. It is because his teacher exiled with him, meaning that all the matters of are in decline in him as well, and he looks at everything as though there is no importance to anything spiritual. This is considered that spirituality is also in exile. By this we should interpret that when Israel are in exile, meaning in descent, and the nations of the world control the person, and the nations of the world are generally called the will to receive for one's own benefit, then the Creator is also in exile for them. In other words, they have no importance of the Creator, since if they had importance of the greatness of the Creator, they would not be able to rule over the Israel in him. As it is known, Israel means straight to the Creator, when all of one's actions are straight to the Creator, but by the control they make all of one's actions be only for his own sake. This is called for the sake of the will to receive, and not for the sake of their Creator. It follows that when the quality of Israel is in exile, the Creator, is in exile with them. 2. Meaning that the desire to bestow is in exile and the one to whom they want to bestow is in exile, as it is written about what Pharaoh said, "Who is the Lord, that I should obey his voice?" That is, he denied the greatness of the Creator and did not allow to believe in the greatness of the Creator. So the quality of Israel is in exile. With them, according to the above, we can interpret what we asked. Why does he say that? It is as though Israel are saved, and as though he is saved. That is what is the connection between the redemption of Israel and the redemption of the Creator. According to the above, it follows that the exile of Israel and the exile of the Creator are the same, since when a person attains and feels the greatness of the Creator, the nations of the world have no control and they are yearned before him. Hence it follows that the whole exile is that we do not know his greatness in the matter of concealment that one feels, which causes him to be in exile. A person should know that he must correct his actions so they are in order to bestow, otherwise there will be shame. Hence there must be concealment and hiding on the upper light to the extent of the sensation of evil, meaning when one sees how immersed he is in self-love, to that extent he sees that he is far from that is, he sees that he is far from doing anything for the sake of the Creator, and he is under the governance of nations of the world, while the quality of Israel in him is completely powerless to emerge from their exile. For this reason, when the Israel in him emerges from exile and is rewarded with redemption, the Creator too, who was covered from him during the exile because of the governance of the nations, now appears, and the greatness of the Creator becomes revealed. This is so because now there is no longer a need for the restriction and concealment, since the restriction has been lifted from him, following the rule that to the extent that one wants to aim to bestow, to that extent the restriction and concealment are removed from him. This is the meaning of the verse we will sing in your salvation, and in that day the Lord will save Israel. It is written, will save, as though Israel are saved, and as though he is saved also. We should interpret what we asked. What does it mean that it is written, we will sing in your salvation, since we sing in your salvation that you did for us in your name? And what is the name of the Creator who created creation? His name is the good, who does good, whose desire is to bestow. Because of it he created in the creatures a desire to receive, or the creatures would not be able to taste the taste of delight and pleasure, since we see that without desire and yearning it is impossible to enjoy anything. Yet at the same time the Creator wanted that there will be no shame while receiving the delight and pleasure. For this reason he wants us to receive everything in order to bestow, and since this is against the nature, he created in us the desire only to receive and not to bestow. When we want to work in order to bestow, we are powerless to do so when we receive this power called the name of the Creator, meaning that we too can work in order to bestow upon the Creator. It is considered that the Creator has given us a second nature. Said about this, that when the Creator gives one the desire to bestow, it is called a second nature. This is the meaning of the verse. Israel said to the Creator, we sing in your salvation, which you did in your name. That is, we sing with the salvation that you gave us the desire to bestow, which is called the name of the Creator, who is the giver. He has given us this name, meaning that now we too can perform acts of bestow. It is written, and in the name of our God we will set up our banners, for the Creator established his name in our name and made us banners. This means that now we support the name of the Creator, whose name is desire to bestow. This is our salvation, that the Creator established his name, which is the desire to bestow in our name. For the Creator is implied in the name is to meaning that all of Israel's actions are straight to the Creator and not for self benefit. This is considered that the people of Israel support the name of the Creator, and this is the salvation of the people of Israel, according to the above, we should interpret what is written. Rabbi says, and his banner over me is love. Even a person who sits and engages in tour and skips from rule to rule and from verse to verse and his skipping is over me with love. We should interpret that the meaning of skipping is that man was created with a desire to receive and cannot work in order to bestow. This is why our sages said one should always engage in, even since from he comes to it follows that one is compelled to work. Inish, as he was born this way in his nature, and yet the Creator skips his state of lishmer and lets him into. Follows that through assistance from the Creator there is the matter of skipping. Here meaning that a person skips over everything that is in his nature to do, everything for his own sake, and begins to work for the sake of where Creator is called, and his skipping is over me with love, where because of the love that he, the Creator, loves us, he has given us banners. In other words, from rules that a person engages in lishma, the Creator gives us the power to skip the degree of lishma and achieve the degree of lishma. This is the meaning of the words from verse 2. Verse meaning that the person begins the verse inish and promptly skips the lishma and achieves the degree of lishma. It is written, I am fond of him, and his banner is over me is love, and his skipping is over me with love. This means that because of the love, the Creator gives him the power to skip the and arrive. Atma, this love is considered that a person begins to work. Inish and the people of Israel craved to work for the sake of the Creator, but could not, hence with the desire that they wanted to work for the sake of the Creator, but could not. That desire evoked love above, and the Creator gave them the power to work. Lishma, this is the meaning of what is written. The Creator said to them, as you craved to make banners, verily I grant you your wishes. This means that the people of Israel craved the discernment of banners, meaning to be able to skip the work of ish and achieve lishmar, and saw that they could not achieve this by themselves. Hence they made an awakening from below, which is that they craved it, and said, when will we be able to skip the work for our own benefit and come to work for the sake of the Creator? With this yearning they evoked love above, and this is why it is written, the Creator said to them, as you craved to make banners, verily I grant you your wishes. Because they craved banners, meaning to skip the work for their own benefit, the Creator granted their wishes. It therefore follows that the heart of man's work is to come to work for the sake of the Creator. Although we must begin to work in lishma, however, we must yearn for the Creator's help to help us, give us the power to work lishma, meaning that all his actions will be in order to bestow contentment upon his Maker. That is, one must accept the burden of the kingdom of heaven without hoping to receive reward from it, namely not to demand of it that it needs to give us some nourishments in return, so we can say that in return for receiving from it, it is worthwhile to work for it. Rather, everything is above reason, as it is a law, but differently mal is called a law, and we cannot understand how it is possible to work without a reward, meaning without receiving any nourishments from it. If so, from where will we have nourishments? How can we work without receiving anything in return to feed us and allow us to sustain ourselves? The answer is also above reason, meaning we must ask the Creator to give us the power to live and have the power to work gladly in order to bestow and not receive any return. But how can such a thing be done, since it is inconceivable for us to understand two opposites in the same subject? On one hand, we do not want anything in return, rather we accept the kingdom of heaven without it giving us any nourishments. But how can we live without any vitality, since we are not asking for any nourishments? On the other hand, we want the Creator to sustain us. With what do we want him to sustain us if we do not want anything for our work? The answer is that it is true that we want nothing in return, but we want the Creator to give us the power to work, so that we cannot receive any reward. How can this be? This thing belongs to you. That is, you will make us a miracle so we can work without any reward because it is above reason. We have no idea what to tell you about how you should sustain us, rather you will sustain us above our reason, and we want to go above reason although no such thing exists within man's intellect. Follows that our work is above reason, and we want our nourishment to also be above reason. Above reason means by a miracle turns out that we are asking the Creator to sustain us in a miraculous way and not in the natural way. In the natural way, when a person works, he wants provision for the effort, but here in the work the person wants to be given provision not because of his work, but because of a miracle, meaning not in the natural way. Accordingly, we should interpret what our sages said on Mount C means. What is the connection between the remission of the land, cultivation, and Mount C in the work? We should interpret at it is known that Mal is called, and Mal is also called land, since Mal is the seventh of the world, begins with as it is written, for I have said a world oft shall be built, and Mal is the seven. From this means that it is forbidden to ask of Mal to yield fruit, that is, it is forbidden to till the land so it will yield fruit. Killing the land means work when we want it to yield fruit, otherwise who would till the land without it bearing fruit? In other words, work means that a person labours, and in return for the labour he is rewarded. That is, he does not enjoy the labour, but if so, if he does not enjoy the work, why does he work? It must be that he wants to receive reward. For this reason, if a person takes upon himself the burden of the kingdom of heaven and does not want any reward, it is a sign that he is not king the land, since he does not want to somehow reward him. This is called, meaning that he is not killing the land so as to receive reward, but when he does work in order to receive reward, this is called tilling the land. In the work, this is considered doing remission of soil, meaning that he does not even touch the soil at all. To him the soil is regarded as the land shall have a Sabbath to the Lord rest. This implies that the whole earth, meaning the kingdom of heaven, is all for the Creator, and the wild has no contact with called. And by this we can explain the question, what is the connection between and Mount C? This means that all the must be observed in a manner of remission, meaning that the intention in observing mitzvot should be in which is the manner of the land shall have a Sabbath to the Lord. In other words, we observe the mitzvah of the Creator with the aim not to receive any reward for the work, rather that the whole of the kingdom of heaven that one takes upon himself, and for which he observes the mitzvah of the Creator, will all be in a manner of meaning that it is with the aim to bestow and not to receive any return. According to the above, we should interpret what is written, and if you say, what will we eat on the 7th year, and I will order my blessing for you in the 6th year, we should interpret the question in the work, because we must accept the kingdom of heaven without any reward, meaning that a person does not say, I take upon myself the kingdom of heaven on condition that you will give me a good taste in work and in prayer, as well as in observing the MIT, and if I receive a reward in return, I am willing to do the holy work. But it is all for the Creator. How can we work above taste and above reason? From where will we eat? That is, from where will we receive nourishment to live in a work where we have nothing in return? This is opposite from our intellect. In our intellect, we understand that if Mal called gives us some flavour in the work, by this taste that we will feel, we will have something to eat. In other words, this flavour that we feel is called nourishments. But while we are forbidden to work on the 7th, meaning we are forbidden to demand reward from this work, from where will we take something to eat? The answer is, I will order my blessing for you in the 6th year. The 6th is called righteous. Righteous means bestowing by working only in order to bestow as well. There will be equivalence of form between and from this the blessing will extend. But if it is to the contrary, and you receive the mal in order to receive, you will cause separation at the root of your soul, which is mal called the assembly of Israel, which is the collection of all the souls making it. Separated therefore they will not be able to bestow upon mal because of the disparity of form between them. Thus precisely by keeping the meaning only in this manner I am telling you I will order my blessing for you in the 6th year. In other words, only when you keep the and have no desire to receive for yourselves, rather specifically in order to bestow, there is room for equivalence of form between who is the giver and mal, who is also corrected by the lower ones who observe the matter of so as not to receive for one's own benefit. Then there's equivalence of form and the blessing can expand. To it follows that when one wants to work in order to bestow and without any reward, the body asks from where will we take vitality for the work. If we agree to work for no return, the answer should be that we are going above reason. Within reason we do not want to answer, but our work is above reason, and the nourishments we need for sustenance during the work are also above reason, meaning as a miracle, since anything that is against nature is considered miraculous. To each the whole basis of our work when we want to work in order to bestow is without any basis of vision, since we do not know from where we will get the strength to work so as to have with what to sustain ourselves, meaning to have nourishments and vitality while he engages in tower and prayer. If he does not want anything for his own sake, follows that he is asking the Creator to give him nourishments to live in above reason, and above reason means against nature, and anything that is attained against nature is regarded as working miracles without any basis on which to rely. It follows that those who want to work in order to bestow must know that when the body asks, what will we eat, as it is written, and if you say what will we eat, the body must not be given an answer within reason, rather to reply the reply which should be that the Creator will give us the blessing, as it is written, and I will order my blessing, and my blessing is considered a miracle, since when everything is in order in the best way, there is no need for blessings. But the body comes and asks. Our sages said one does not rely on miracles, and our sages also said a miracle does not happen every day. Follows that all the answers that we must reply to the body are all above reason, meaning to tell the body within reason, you're correct, but I am going above reason. Know well what is your impression. What is the impression from the article? No, I have a question from the article. Because he writes about the matter of a nourishment, the sustenance is as that he makes it so we work without any reward. And how is it possible to do something that belongs to you, meaning you will make a miracle with us for us to be able to work without any reward, since this is above reason, and nevertheless we have no reason to tell you in what way you will nourish us. And about this verse I have a question, because we said in the last few days that the prayer needs to be discerned, scrutinized, to know exactly what to ask, and only such a prayer the Creator answers. Here he's saying he's in a state that he nullifies his reason, his opinion altogether, and even says we have no reason to even tell you in what way you will nourish us. It sounds the opposite. Okay, we hear you. Yes, he writes, when a person wants to work in order to bestow without any reward, then the body asks where will we receive from the work in order to get that. The answer should be that we're going above reason. But where does a person even have the vitality to work above reason? Okay, I don't know more. He writes in the article that we need to go above reason, and also that a person doesn't have those powers or forces to do so, and we need to ask for these forces. Now in states of descent where we are trying to work above reason, the friend's doing many efforts. I say these things as if I'm looking at it from the side. Creator intensifies the pleasure a little bit. You far to some state of descent, distancing from above reason, you feel this lack, and then eventually you understand that he's doing this too. You now the question is when I feel, but I feel like there's A lot of time being wasted between the state that you're falling, and it's hard to connect it to the Creator. Feel anger, frustration that each time you're falling to the desire to receive, and the request come to turn to Him first to give us the force. Because He's doing this to us. How do we overcome this? How do we work with this? Okay, we hear you. Next, Ken Hrs and the people of Israel were created in order to do for the sake of the Creator, and therefore the desire that they wanted to do for the sake of the Creator and couldn't. That desire would awaken love above, and the Creator gave them the force to do lishmer and this and that state that they want to do against nature, and they discover that they can't, and He describes it as the Creator helps. Then it sounds like it's closer, not in the request. And then the Creator helps, but it's enough that you want to do for the sake of the Creator, and you discover that you can't. That's already kind of like a prayer, like a request just to me that sounds closer. Okay to yes, fine. Okay, yes. There's also something very interesting with the remission is that you have to 6 years do a preparation and to expect and await this thing. That's called that you can work without reward, and on the 7th year you merit it, and it's a miracle. It means that the main work is the preparation, and interesting. What is interesting? That they're expecting a miracle, or every moment is actually the expectation to work without reward, and the desire resists this, and there are many degrees of resistances, until in the end on the 7th he receives it. Why do we need so much preparation in order to merit something that we're supposed to live all the time? Actually, because you have to accumulate forces in order to receive that 7th state in year. Vessels understand well, don't understand. But the order, the process is as clear. But why this relationship of so much work and preparation in order to? Because all the work is in preparation. No, it's like 17th is the reward for this. No, you shouldn't say it like that. This is what it turns out to be. No, it's not that. How you work for 6 years, and on the 7th you'll receive it for free. It doesn't mean that you receive it for free. You worked for 6 years, but every moment of these 6 years is for that 7th, yes. And I'm not complaining, I'm just saying it's interesting that it's like that. That most of it is the preparation, or maybe just that's how I'm grasping it. Nope, all of these 6 years when one works in order to nourish the Creator on the 7th year, it is all a result of the work in the 6 years. How should I put it? This is what He wants. Because on the 7th year what happens to Him is that He seemingly gives the Creator what the Creator gave Him. You see, this is actually the 7th mean. For 6 years He studies from the Creator how to work on the 7th, how on the 7th to give back to Him again. Thank you very much. Does it actually mean to skip from one verse to another? In our work, to skip from one verse to another means that look at only what is written before me right now. That's what I look at. Let's say what is written before me in a verse, and that's it. Besides that, I don't want to know anything actually what's written in the book. I need to aim it in my work before the friends too, and all together here with the whole environment that we're in, with one another, to aim it in order to bring contentment to the Creator. Yes, saying I feel from this article how we are constantly needing to awaken this thing, to evoke the force of bestow and love between us in order to bring Him contentment, because one moment that we sleep a little bit and rest and the work and don't do this common thing, we're actually lowering the contentment to the upper one, and we're all actually need the we're also losing the connection between us. I think it's a great privilege to be in such a special environment where you're constantly receiving the forces from one another, and we can constantly raise it to and bring contentment to the upper one. So I'm saying this in gratitude, and also in it's this endless gratitude. It's a miracle. It is a miracle. Yes, when a person comes to a state in which he expects a miracle as the reward of his work, he starts to understand that also The previous reward that he received was also a miracle. Yes, he writes about skipping from a directly to, and he writes that we need to be to the liking of the Creator for him to, and then emphasize that we know how to do this. It doesn't depend on the person, only on the Creator. And you once said that one of the elders said that you have to be feigned by the Creator, favored by the Creator, and then everything will be revealed. So how do we find ourselves in favor of the Creator? I don't know, I haven't reached it yet. I don't think that I deserve it. But actually I haven't reached it yet. He once told us that your daughter leave this little rabbit doll, there's a baby there to go take care of. It's felt this way also, that it's like letting go of a rabbit doll and take care of an actual baby, but we want the doll baby. Well, with a baby, a little girl feels more tasty in the doll than in the small living child. This allegory, what are the 6 days of work that we work in, and of labor that we exert in, that give us the push to want the ability by that we correct ourselves. These are the 6 degree before deep. What does that mean? You put forth your efforts, you make the exertion, and they're all because otherwise you'd be caring for a baby already. Yes, what's there that the Creator favors? That you do the labor, the effort, that's what you have there, and then I receive. What do you call the reward? Let's say the labor is something that awakens within the one who labors for him to want to have a change. No. Yes, it is something that is tremendous above nature. Ken. Yes, the will to receive is seeking security, things that give him it confidence and security, and in this article there's a feeling like the above reason is to give up all that security that hold, to put all your confidence in the Creator and the greatness of the Creator. Where does a person have the strength to make that absolute concession for all the things that he's constantly for, and to put the confidence only in the Creator? He reaches a decision that if he will work his own confidence, then he's not working in order to bestow, but only on the condition that he is going towards the Creator, and he uses his forces of be on this condition. He gives contentment to the Creator, and he has no chance to perform this action in any other way. How does a person overcome the fear from that step? It seems like a step of giving up. Everything he knows is used to nothing is left for him. He works for 6 years, and a 7th year comes, and so nothing else remains for him to do, but only to be willing to do it for free. Thank you. Said that's that. Sorry. The title, it's like what are the banners in the work? That's actually the heading of everything we've read now. And then he writes that due to the love of the Creator, that if he loves us, therefore he gave us these banners, meaning these are moves that person engages in their lishmar, and the Creator gives him the force to skip the degree of lishmar and to come to the degree of someone. Say here that it gives him the forces to skip the we're sitting here for many years, and so he's saying that he's making a skip that degree. What's hiding behind this? Do you be able to skip from where you in right now? Inish. I can't skip it, I can't jump, I can. Being 20 years. In fine, even more so. What does he mean to skip? He's writing here he gives us the force to skip as much as you need to be more in lishmar. He gives you the possibility to already skip from that state that you to. So how can we explain that we learned yesterday we'd says the Creator advances us drop by drop without skipping any states. It's considered that the Creator doesn't give up to us immediately. Asma, meaning on one hand he's telling you drop by drop, on the other hand here he's writing that you skip over the state of what is that force, what's going on, bit by means according to nature, and skipping means according to the miracle. To ask skip is a miracle. Yes, how do you come to this miracle? Through the upper force, through the upper light that influences the person, and the person shifts from the state that he's in right now, where he's incapable of doing anything truly in order to bestow, and he is suddenly able to receive forces and carry out in order to bestow. Yes, but that's work, meaning you have to labor to get there. You have to Exert it's not suddenly you get a skipping over without any reason, right? Well, without a reason your whole life. You exerted. That's it, so you have to exert in order to get to that. Of course nothing comes truly, completely for free. I didn't understand the 7th year. A person doesn't work, he just doesn't receive reward, or does he? Work in the 7th year, he doesn't work, but rather he received the reward. What is to not work if we say that the work is in connection? How not? The work in connection. No, we're talking about corporal work if you're talking about spiritual work. Then on the 7th year, person receives the result of whatever you invested, let's say in the 6 years beforehand. Now you receive the result, the reward. There is no reward here. The 7th is actually you working without reward. That's the remission, that you're working without reward. No, but what you receive is called the reward. And before that, what's the 6 years? Well, in the 6 years you were working, and each time that you work you invested in new work and in giving to the Creator. That is to receive reward. 6 years is with reward. Yes, mean it preparation, and then the 7th year working and without reward. Yes, there are all kinds of well, if we're talking about working in this world, there are all kinds of conditions and limitations. There's a lot to it. Okay. Yes, I does the article say that in a state of descent a person doesn't have the ability to bestow? In a state of descent a person cannot bestow. Yes, well, it's possible that that's how the Creator wants for a person to feel. How her hope is he is, so there's no chance to bestow. The state of descent depends what form of descent, but if the Creator does not give us forces, then a person cannot do anything. Skipping from when a person is in Lishma during the ACT, does he know that he's in Lishma each time he feels that? He knows because he's trying to perform actions. Lishma means that during the action itself he already know that he's in Lishma, or does he believe that he's in Lishma and in retrospect he discovers it? No, he doesn't discover it inevitably, but yeah, he's just trying to perform acts of bestow, acts of connection, and this is how he progresses until he comes to a state in which he has nothing else he can do. He doesn't feel that he has additional forces, up to a state where seemingly he believes in miracles that the will eventually help him. He truly believes that the Creator will help him, yes, and these are the miracles in the end. The miracle, he understand it in the end that actually in order to skip from or only the Creator can do it. Yes, that's correct. No, says that on the 6th miracle appears when they soar. This revealed to, and how does in relation to make it do this action? It says she has only what her husband gives her, so how by action does she make her nourish her? Is it by asking to resemble it all the time more and more in acts of pisto, and by wanting it to grow all the time? You didn't quite understand. Repeat yourself. In the article he says that the 6th miracle appears, which is that the nourishes, and it's not as mal through the work in the king that the soil that she nourishes her herself, but rather she receives the nourishment from why. My question is mal's action towards why, which is now revealed, is nourishing her. It is written that she, the woman, has only what her husband gives her. She has nothing of her own, so this action where she asks for nourishment, is this an action which she asks to resemble Yod? More an action of imitation, of resembling, and secondly, does she ask all the time for to go back to its root, meaning that it will constantly grow in her eyes, and this is how she's nourished. Yes. Dua. I wanted to ask, he writes that for the body all the answers you have to give it. Is that you? Right, but going about reason. Correct, because the body behaves according to nature, and according to nature is always right. What is this thing to answer the body? I am going above reason, where you're going to resolve your problem with the forces that are above nature, forces of bestow. And from where do you bring it? I mean the body always wants to have a result inside the desire you demand from the Creator. You don't have it if you don't have It now in practice the body wants something from you. Seemingly say you right, but if the Creator will not give it to you, you will not be able to go about. Reason correct. What does it mean that I answer I'm going about? You appeal to the Creator and demand to have the forces above reason, the forces of bestow, and what are the conditions that need to be in the lower one so that the Creator will give him this above reason, that he really shows that he wants to bestow. How is this manifested? That he worked in this, he labored in it. Seemingly you're always working in this direction, yes. So does this mean that you're truly willing to ready for about reason? Because 6 years have passed, you received each time from above all kinds of forces and tried to be in them in order to bestow as much as possible. Why the 6 years prepare you to above risk? If in the end you do get a reward in them, you give effort and you receive a reward during the 6 years. So where here is the preparation for above reason. Above reason is work without a reward. My reward is that I receive the power, the force of bestow. But why do you get it in the as a preparation by the 6 years? Because I demand to have the ability to bestow. From all the 6 forces I'm demanding to have the ability to bestow by them. Isn't this considered a reward? The fact that I want, that's called reward, but the fact that I want to bestow through this, that's not considered that I'm receiving. Okay, so the lower one has a way to obligate the upper one to give him this above reason, or it's not within his hands at all. The lower one can obligate the upper one so that the upper one will give it the forces to work above reason. Yes, that's already considered inside the system of nature. How do you obligate him? That's what I don't manage to understand. If he says it's a miracle, it's a skipping that is done for you. This is on behalf of love. How we say about a baby, we say that the little child, the baby, is like the head of the family. That's it, because he has the forces to demand from the whole family for him to be cared for. Thanks. He writes that the people of Israel craved to work for the sake of the Creator, but were not able to, so with their desire that they wanted to work for the sake of the Creator but couldn't. This desire evokes love above, and the Creator gave them the strength to work. The question is, to which desire do we have to reach that it evokes love above? So much so that the Creator gives you this skipping to that person wants to bestow above his forces that he's not capable, and he's demanding and requesting the Creator to make it so that he's capable. How do we evoke a will to bestow in the 10? By example. What is an example of an example from himself? What example is it to bestow? Perform an act of bestow to the friends and make sure that the others too will be impressive. But what example is there of the intention to bestow? The ACT, but the intention to bestow, is there such a thing? Attention is connected to your request, to your action. Where does a person have the forces to give an example of bestow? For that he does have forces. Envy, lust and honor, we have forces for that. Mean that the lower ones correct in appealing to as they want to receive forces of bestow. They, how should we say this? They push to being closer to the. It turns out that when it bestows after the correction of the lower ones, it turns out that we need to constantly pray for the vessel, for friends who lost audio. Maybe it's the prayer that we're asking to raise the intention. So what is it to pray for the CLE? We want to have the desire to bestow through the group of friends to the Creator. Creator is our goal, and the friends together, all of us connect in order to bestow to him. Common prayer of the 10. The abundance can expand, yes, and when he writes here, then there is room for the blessing to expand. The blessing to what is this? Blessing. Blessing is usually called the reflected light. Canon, yes, sir. He's known that on the 7 people who the ground, let the ground, the soil rest it stand, for the fact that the 7 SC from Mal, which the assembly of Israel, who gathers all of the souls, and because of the awakening from below the person gives a new cycle, should begin. This is why there is rest. Yes, 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 that's the source. So there is the cycle of every 7 years, and the 7th year, in fact, the person year on the 7th year, the person should nourish himself because on the 7th year we don't feel the ground, we simply have remission, we have a rest, yes, but you saved in all the previous years. This means that the 7th year, when we don't kay the soil in order to make a living, it comes out of the savings of those 6 years. Well, let's see, I mean, is there anything else? I mean, we're not allowed to let go of the land now, let to work the land is what I said is on the 7th year, which is actually that the cycle has to start again. So there's a kind of a cycle which is always 7 years from and back. Yes, yes. Thank you very much. We learn from the Creator the quality of love. I don't know the quality of love of the Creator. We can't quite learn because all our relations are built upon the will to receive, upon on our ego, upon the fact that we are truly demanding from one another without it coming out of our mouth. And if we were to know how to truly relate to one another, what a relief we would have. It's simply we would be freed of all the shackles. Okay, when we read the articles we see that the Cree actually hides himself all the time, and he gives us labour so that we will want. Like he's like an educator, a teacher, he's doing double work to work. He conceals his giving, and on the contrary he reveals his actions on the opposite side, the egoism that is revealed in us in relation to our to reality. So how does that teach us about him? How do we? I didn't understand saying, because in the article it also says that all the time we have to look at it, says the person should perform all with the intention to eventually reach the Creator's quality. Yes, this means that we are always in school. We have to learn all the time. Which of his actions should we learn? We should also do the same if we want to resemble the Creator. We begin perform acts of mutual bestow towards one another, and this is how we come to adapt ourselves to the Creator. Show it to us visibly. He hides himself. Should we hide ourselves towards each other? You keep saying an example. What kind of an example can we take from the Creator and say, oh, he does that, we will also do that? I don't know, I don't understand what you're asking. He does this way, and then we do this way. What does that mean? So we learn. When you learn something, you look at what somebody does, and you say, I'll do the same. You cannot see the actions of the Creator in a revealed manner, but I see that he's hiding himself. What does it mean? What should we do on our side? What should we do in the 10 in order to be similar to the Creator? Only mutual bestow, mutual help, mutual coming closer until we start to discover in these ways his qualities now that we don't quite know how to learn from the Creator, because he's the quality of his scent, and our nature is to receive, and we demand from each other without even bringing it out from our mouth. You said that we would have known how to correct our attitude correctly. What a relief it would be. So the question is, first of all, why are we unable to understand what are the correct relations, and why is it built in this way? What do we learn in this process where we're not able? So we will connect to the Creator and be dependent on him, otherwise we won't be able to learn from him. And you said that we cannot learn from the actions of the Creator because it's a different nature. So how then do we truly learn from the Creator? We ask that he will give us that same strength, that same nature that he has. So apparently we need to learn how to ask, because that's the main thing. So here in this a process of learning how to ask, we need to ask, see that it this doesn't work, and then change the bequest. Okay. Yes, he says that when the miracle comes and she reaches and she equalizes to the quality of that's why he is righteous, and he bestows to her. So what is actually happening there? Whose is also foundation. We don't talk about that for the time being. We haven't learned. No. Well, feeling, maybe sometimes I feel that the Creator is giving me the forces to skip over. The friends are great, the lessons are sweet, and I feel that I'm in the 7th year. I can work with no reward. He gave it to me, and then he drops me down. No flavor, no taste. I cry. I Pray, cry and pray, and again I skip up. I'm in the 7th year, the friends are great. I'm and it's like skipping up, down. Like her, I'm like as a horse he's riding on me like a yo-yo. Taste it from this taste. It, like it's horrible her nature, but he gives me that feeling of Lishmar of the 7th year. I'm floating. I exerted, I prayed, I cried, he gave it. Gave you. Yes, learn from this. So here's where I'm missing out on something I have nothing to say. Learn from this. What am I supposed to learn from this? To learn how to be similar to the Creator. I'm missing something. Here you're missing a lot, but if he already gave it to me and I want to stay there, that he won't drop me down. Again, I have nothing to say. Learn from this what the Creator has given you. That's it. Okay, what are we doing next? There's a big gathering in Moscow. And, oh sorry, yes. Moscow, it's written that Mal is a law. What is this law? Of the will to receive, that is directed from in order to receive, to be in order to bestow. That's it is it's a matter of changing the intentions. For first receives with the intention for herself, and afterwards she performs the restriction and shifts herself to the intention to bestow. Next, more nothing. Okay, good. So we have Moscow, women. Moscow, when you speak about having to turn to the Creator constantly in order to get help, so he gave us this quality. Or is it like a certain connection on our initiative when we have no forces? Does he give us the forces to turn to him, or we have to do it on our own? Bother you with when there are two sounds, two languages. Okay, let's continue, and we will see MOS 5 MOS. What is MOS 5? Moscow 6, please. Moscow 5, about the transition from from reason to above reason. So we decide within reason that we're going to above reason. Right, it's clear that with that in reason is one state, and above it is the other state, but the transition itself is what worries me. How should I and my own reason, and let's say devoted to the group, what exactly disconnects from me? He is taking us from for her sake to for her sake. That transition, he does it. Okay. Right, so I in some way need to put like brakes on myself, so he does it. Yes. Tari, if the quality of Israel in a person is under the control of the nation, so how can one advance to the Creator in freedom of choice? Only through the friends. A person himself is powerless. Only through connection with the friends does he discover how he can take all the forces of the 10 and use them in the direction of the Creator. A Turkey 8 Turkey. Good morning. Speech. For we pray together and do all kinds of activities, and our purpose is to change man from the Creator's point of view. Are all students as one man, and what's the importance in being true with the friends in such a state? With respect to the Creator, we are all from the perspective of the Creator. We're all one man, but from our perspective, we're not to adhere to the Creator. To connect with him, we also have to come to such a feeling as one man, with one heart. This is the answer. Okay, all right. Turkey 1. When does a person get the forces to work with no reward? Depends on the Creator, not on a person. Person has to show everything he has to perform acts that he really wants to work in order to be still, but when he actually gets it from above, it depends on above. There are articles about it. There are all kinds of calculations. He does little or not and is rewarded, and so on. There are many things in this regard. What else do we have? China. The yes. My question is, how can we maintain faith above reason through the examples of their friends, that we're all holding each other and want to show an example to each other how much we're working in connection above reason and in actions above reason? If we direct ourselves this way, we will see that it's not such a problem, really. Bulgaria, I'm not sure I understood you correctly. See, you asked how where to get the forces from in order to have the intention to bestow, and you answered that from envy, lust and honor. Yes, but isn't that what feeds my ego? You start swelling up from this. If I do something so good I become great. Without the ego you wouldn't be able to attain the greater, but it's not the intention to bestow. It turns out that it's the intention to receive feeding my ego. Yes, precisely because of this you can attain the creator, so that's not something I need to conceal. No, no, absolutely not. It doesn't diminish you, it doesn't degrade you or diminish you. Latin 13. How to reach the longing for those banners towards the Congress. F. We perform exercises every day, then we will decide that we are doing exercises in groups in each and every group 10 minutes each day. We will succeed. Yes, minutes of what exercise for 10 minutes every day. What were we talking about? Many things. He was asking about the banners, how he asked towards the Congress, how to get a desire for those banners. So what exercise every day for 10 minutes tend do to come prepared to their Congress con every possible moment, but in the morning we do it for 10 minutes straight without disconnecting. What's connection for 10 minutes without disconnecting? That we're all connected and we're drawing into our connection. We're drawing the creator, and we don't want anything other than to remain this way forever. That all the qualities of connection and all of our pleas to the creator will be with his qualities. Are you speaking about preparation to the lesson when we enter the lesson? Yes, 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 in the beginning of the lesson. Okay, they had another question in 13 Latin 13. All right, let them ask another question. Okay. In the article it said that when they wanted to work for the sake of the creator they couldn't. The desire awakened love above, and the creator gave them the forces to work. Lishmer, so do we always have to reach that point where we can't advance anymore and lose all our forces and almost despaired for the creator to be revealed and us to work in Lishma. Yes, we have to demand from the creator the actual strength for Lishma. Yes, about demanding forces from the creator work. I think that I also saw that started that we're under the control of the nations, and sometimes I feel I know that I don't feel that I'm under their control, and I also see here, sorry for saying it, but I see that in the faces of my friends, not a face of despair, yet crying. I don't see their cries. There's creator, help me, I want to release myself from the W to receive. I feel the control of the as I feel it. So the question is, yesterday I heard our friend and I really felt that he is fighting. He's really in a war, so I feel it every moment here in the lesson that we're really, and the man from the creator release me. They can't keep going. Pray to the creator to give you such deficiencies that you too will ask in this way. How can you be so calm? If I'm old, I'm too tired to get angry and yell. Besides, I've been through it many times. Maybe there's like a pill that you can give me. Okay, what can you do? There is none so wise as the experienced. Yes, what's the connection between this 7 days and Egypt and coming out of Egypt? We use all kinds of signs like this in order to mark, indicate what states the children of Israel were in Egypt in the Exodus, from Egypt in the exile, in the redemption, etc. We use these signs. Yes, I heard you say that if we learn to relate to one another, release ourselves from our handcuffs, what do we have to do to change our relationships between, open our hearts? Africa from Africa. What does it mean that limitation and concealment is taken off from a person? I don't know, it's an emotional thing. Let's hope we will succeed in discover it and feel it. It says from your deeds we will know you. How do we see the deeds of the creator if he's concealed? If we are ready, then we will also see them through the actions that we experience. Women. Turkey 8. I heard that we can't work from the thought that I'll get a reward, but what is the reward given for those 7 years to go out free, to come out free? Free meaning for no cost. We come out of all the limitations. Women. USA. Next, USA are the 6 years of work. Actually 6 Years, no, it has nothing to do with 6 years, you could say. 6, but it's not according to corporeal material time. Women PT6. How can a person shorten the time of how can the 10 help the friends in that to the as much as they manage a shorter time to achieve Lishma? There's no time. Here there really is no time. We are getting closer to a state where those who prepare themselves above reason will be rewarded. Question from women K and working above reason. Above reason, my principle, or is it a calculation? Sorry, is reason one of my states, or is it a calculation? Reason is a state in my policy, in my states. Again, it was translated in working above. Reason, is reason one of my states, or is that a calculation? It's both a calculation and a state. Okay, so what are we doing? Go ahead. Ask what causes a person to yearn and ask to be in Adam when he feel himself as a beast. Thank you saying to open the heart again. How do you open a heart? I don't know. I don't know. Come on, the Creator does it. Ask. Hey. Yes, what's more important in the prayer? This sensitivity, or the form of the prayer? That we're asking for the right thing in the right order, even without words. We turn to the Creator and He feels our hearts and what we have in our hearts. On the lesson, there's a lot of work to reach the right prayer. We all together feel that we want to serve the Creator, to give Him contentment, and if we receive a small sesame, a desire in that direction, we're happy. Our friends, the soldiers, once we think about them, there's a big, great sensitivity and desire and everything together. So what will give the Creator contentment? That work together in the same sensitivity to ask for something in the same motion together, to be concerned of something except for us, or to ask for something correct that the Creator won't take care of us. Did someone understand? I think he's asking what's right, to ask for someone outside of us, or to ask for change to happen in us. Okay, which is more valuable? Which would give more contentment to the Creator? That we're all here asking that He'll change us to the will to be, from the will to receive to the will to bestow, or that we have great feeling on behalf of another, that we're all together in great emotion, that the Creator will protect and care for our friends that are in the field of battle, really the front of battling, the will to receive, or that we sit here and say, connect us to receive the light that reforms, connect us to receive the light that reforms, again and again, until we feel something to be as close as possible to the Creator, all of us together, and that shows itself in the prayer. Aha, most effectively, because you're saying open our heart. But here's some stimuli that really magnifies our desires to care for the friend, that the friends will be cared for is, or do we sit here and try to fit a square peg in a round hole? I ask the Creator to open my heart. What for? Ask for the friends, for their friends. If the Creator gives me a feeling on my own, I can use it towards the friends, and if the Creator gives me a feeling to be concerned of a friend, so step closer. I don't even have to work. So is there a screen built into that desire that the Creator will care for our great friends? So why not go straight to the goal the Creator wants from us? A desire, single desire, of course. So is it more important? So what's most important is that we have emotion together in a direction besides ourselves. So it's called so all day to think of these great friends that show us an example, because the emotions are right on the surface. There we have to put all of our heart together right in this point. The tears are just right behind my eyelids for these friends. Let them fall, let them fall. Yes, yes. Can about jump from our he that the nation of Israel yearned and said, when can we skip over the work from our own benefit and reach the work for the Creator's benefit? And that yearning awakened love above what is the right yearning. Do they want to skip over the work for themselves? What does that mean? We want to be adhered to the Creator, that He bestows upon us, we bestow upon Him, and in this action we are adhered to one Another prevents a person to make the effort to go above reason from the concealment. What does it mean to yearn for this correctly to and not to receive? It is a reward, the citation in the Creator. I don't quite understand the question. What eyes is the work in Lishmer that is increasing? Is that the ability of a person to agree with Lishma or not? To agree with it, yes. Yes, the person doesn't understand whatsoever what it is, what is doesn't understand. In that is he willing to accept the state more and more, like he writes in SHDI that the future depends on the gratitude on the past. Yes, that even if he has a preparation, that's enough for him, and that shows on the advancement of a person. Even though he's moving back, he's willing to agree with even a little bit that the Creator is giving. So how does a demand from Lishmer develop from this? Why should it develop a demand for Lishmer? Because he can no longer remain in Lishmer. He feels that he is not acting, he's not helping, he's not assisting anyone, not to the created beings and not to the Creator. That degree of that he tries to stabilize there. What? It's an illusion, it's a lie, it's fake. What? Yes, this is what he feels, that I am better off dead than alive. He wants to come to a state where he is compatible with the Creator, but he doesn't know what that state is exactly, even though he doesn't. Okay, another small question just to scrutinize this exercise. Every morning 10 minutes to sit connected, drawing the Creator into our connection. We don't want anything just to stay like that forever. Yes, how do you see this in the preparation? It sounds something silent, like 10 minutes, that we'd just yes to sit for 10 minutes and think how we can be connected in our hearts, in one heart, and to feel this one heart, so that besides this we don't need anything besides where we are now, where we feel ourselves, to feel the Creator there. Thank you. No, well, that's you already spoke today. Enough. What, you have a question? Okay, you've got a group. Explain to them your question after the lesson. Not everyone have to hear it from everyone. What we also doing, we have tea and the introduction to their book, and as it's the inner observation of part 6. Who is in favor of inner observation, and who is in favor of what was the other one? Introduction to the book. Can say that the first one was more so. Next part of the lesson we'll sing a song, first face after face, race after race, from one cage to another, mask after mask, task after test, lost in the sense. Through you there's a cry, through you there's a light, a place to be discovered. Through you there's a way. Together we pray to rise to see the face of love. Through their eyes together is one, and now we arise, and every word and echo from the escape, breaking the walls, hearts unit. And in you I see a picture of me. Through you I find my flaws. Through there's a key, a place where we can open doors together. We the fire burns, the chance to feel alive, a song from the heart singing that love will cover our cry, to see the face of love through your eyes together as one. And now we arise, and every word and echo from the sky, breaking the walls, hearts you nigh, to see the face of love through your eyes together as one. Now we are, and every word and echo from the sky, breaking the wall, hearts you know. We are reading in the book the study of the trans part 6 inner observation. Material is on, and you can send questions live through the site. The study of the T part 6 inner observation. We should know that the world of is the first root, that the worlds a stem from. It is here that the association of the quality of mercy with judgment is established and rooted as a first beginning. This is the meaning of the 10 utterances from which the world was created, referring to the 10 vessels for the clothing of the upper light, as we have already elaborated on above. However, in the previous 3 of there was only one utterance, meaning that the upper light clothed only one vessel called Mal, but the 9 prior to Malud were completely clear of a vessel. Hence we should thoroughly understand the evolution of the matters brought in the words of the in this part, and how they come and connect by way of cause and consequence from the three previous parts of. We shall begin by explaining the order of the emanation of this from its supper called Sag. Of we learn that we have G. We have reached SG, and after SG there's something that we don't really understand. That's the world of Nick, and now he wants to explain what this world of is. That's what he is explaining. Okay. Item 1. It has already been explained that the primary factor in the creation of any is the clash of the surrounding light and the inner light with one another, the screen and reflected light that it raises, draws and clothes the inner light of their P to the extent that it clothes and draws the inner light it repels from the P, the surrounding light that belongs to the P, the CL of the surrounding light refines the screen from its coarseness until it raises it to its root meaning completely, refines it from its coarseness of the goof until it equalizes with the of. That this is considered that the screen rose and was incorporated in the screen in mal of in the coupling from below upward. That is, there at that time the screen of the goof is renewed with a new coarseness, raising a new level of T. In this new level is considered a new, the son of the previous P, where the new refinement and coupling were made. That light of the newly born P is discerned as part of the surrounding light of their upper, since the surrounding light appears only by the creation of the souls and the BIM of the lower ones, as our sages have written. The son of David does not, which is the Messiah, does not come before all the souls in the body. And this refers to the entire well of souls included in the upper inclusive surrounding light. This is also the meaning of the flash of the surrounding light with inner light, as this is the entire manner of its appearance. You find that the screen of the goof, which is the screen of Tarbo, is the primary operator in the emanation of the lower one, since it ascends to be incorporated in the upper coupling of the and raises the records of the T that remain after that area of the lights of the goof of the upper one to the emanator, which is mal of the reason for this is that in holiness, concealment and revelation always come as one, and wherever you find concealment, note that this is also a place of the revelation, since they are gripped to each other as a wick to a candle, and the whole covering and concealment are the only preparation for its appearance. Were it not for the concealment, the revelation would never have come to be, just as there is no existence to the candle light without the wick. You already know that the first appearance of this screen of Tarbo in the first of AR was the only cause of the existence of the darkness and the vacant space in the world, also the whole difference between the world of ends that filled all of reality in between, which is only a thin line of light, occurred because of that screen of T-bly. That screen impeded the upite, did not let it spread and fill all of reality as it would, and put a soft end and in conclusion on the upper light in the middle point, as has been written, elaborated on in previous points. The screen in of the did the matter of the impeding and striking on the upper light. It is known that the screen of the H does not impede the upper light, but only in potential, since there is no discernment of clothing in the at all, much L impeding on clothing, rather anything that is marked as potential manifests and appears in the goof in practice in the phase of clothing that it made in the reflected light of meaning on the first N, appears in the first N of the go, whose place is called from the impeding and the repelling that it made in the appear in mal of the go, whose place is called from T to TH. It is made completely dark from the downward, for the line of light that is drawn from as stopped. There is known that that point of was discerned as this world, meaning our very planet Earth, as it says, and his feet shall stand on the mount of all. This okay lot. Questions? No. Well, no. Choice. Only no. What? You're suffering. What can you do? I wanted to ask you when he says here about the clash of surrounding light, that it refines the screen from its coarseness altogether to its root relationship, everything it writes Here's this about the work in the 10. Because it doesn't just happen in the air, the clash of inner light and surrounding light. What does that mean? There are forces in nature called the will to bestow and the will to receive, two forces that contradict each other. Here he's explaining in which way they connect and how they work, how they are active. What is the clash? What is the clash in the 10? It's not just words. First of all, I'm happy you have a book, so then you can read in the dictionary. I understand what is the clash, but what? How do you do it in the 10? What is it clash in the T? Clash, to speak, contradicting words one towards the other. What does it mean but that they're contradictory? I'm saying this is white. He says it's black, and then what? So are opinions. Clash, I deny what he says, he denies what I say. Great, so we denied it. So is this a clash, or do I have to beat him up and he has to beat me up, and that's a clash? It has nothing to do with physical contact, or no, verbally beat him up. You're such an idiot. What are you talking about? You such nonsense. And he said, tells me you're an idiot. How do we come out of it? How do we come out of that clash? We have to build something. How do we come out of it? Go to court. What do you want from me? Just understand that in spirituality, where clash shows a contradiction, that's a state that we can't stand. Why I'm asking you, he says it refines the screen. What does it mean? That it refines the screen in the relationship between me and the friends. And the 10, the screen disappears. Exactly, so what does that mean? How do I make that screen disappear? And what happens as a result? By the fact that you don't agree with your current state, and this causes advancement. It causes our advancement, because then you still can't remain in the state you were, and you search for a new state, a better state. It says it raises it to the root. What does that mean? To the root where the lights came from, and the force is the arrow. It's an example until you come to equivalence of form with the creator. Because of this clash eventually, yes, thank you, the ascent of the screen of the goof of deeply upward. He says the reason is that in holiness there are always concealment and revelation as one, and wherever you find concealment, know that there is also the place of revelation. What does it mean? That the screen rises and the concealment and revelation are together, because though those two actions, concealment and revelation, come from equivalence and lack of equivalence, the W to receive and the W to bestow, that's why through these actions we see that creation. Advan answers no. What gad? Yes. Gillard, I have a question about what asked. Every concealment is the only preparation for its revelation. So what should we be looking for the concealment? What is concealed from us, or what is revealed to us? It depends what we're drawn towards. Where are we drawn towards? If we want to discover the connection between us, or the gap between us, to what should we be drawn? What should we aspire to be drawn? For that depends which action you're in, and what do you want to discover. Say today, give us an exercise to work on the connection between us. 10 minutes straight. What should we discover there? That it's concealed from us, or that we see or feel the connection as much as we are able and want, and can establish the connection between us and hold on to it. And if we discover how much we can't, yet the gap between us, if we discover the gap between us, we see to what extent that gap shows us even more what state we're in, and then we turn to the Creator and we ask of Him, what does it mean? He also talks about it as a wick in a candle. It's just there's no existence for the light of the candle without the wick. So what's concealed here and what's revealed? What's the revelation that comes afterward? There can't be one without the other. There can't be the light of a candle without the wick. What do we discover? That is concealed quality of bestow, the Creator. What is concealed? Gradually the quality of bestow disappears. That is in the oil, and from this comes demand for the light. Yes, again, it's a bit of a general question. In the evening we study the tea. These are very powerful lessons, and the reader reads, and we watch clips from the archive, and there was a clip where You said that a person has to feel these things happening to him on him. Otherwise he doesn't draw the light, and he messes up in the study, and I was under the impression that these things don't happen to a person, but they are forces that you have to perhaps yearn to feel. So what's the right way to relate to the words in TVS and study? Ver. Trans. Maybe he didn't understand that. How to relate correctly to what's written in test is its writings of. Bam. He processed it and organized it in a way that we will be able to read this together just like we read it with Anders read it with his group, and with that's why we need to read in that way to the person who sits in. Should he imagine that these things are happening within him? You shouldn't imagine. So what should I do? It speaking about spiritual things that he can well maybe imagine them in his wall to receive. And his two last question. I speak Hebrew, and sometimes after we read one line I'm sometimes totally lost, and it takes me minutes to return, and I feel like I'm missing out. Speakers of other languages are certainly like that. You have these disconnections. How do you constantly stick with a study? When I started studying test I had my HEB Hebrew was horrible, and it took me a long time till I learned it. I wrote translations above every word, that's it, and everything was there. Was a lot of scribbling in the book. I don't think it's such a problem. I went through it after a few years, maybe 2 years even less. I overcame it. Yeah, concerning the concealment revelation, what makes revelation is the screen, right? You say here everything depends on the screen, but the screen is like an instrument where a person sees darkness. If he has an instrument, he can switch it on. Everything is suddenly revealed with light and discernment and everything, right? But when we ask what we're missing, you say connection. Connection, the same thing. Why is this the same? What's the connection between them? Their screen brings them both close. Two opposite things, light and vessel, and organizes a connection between them. But why does connection do it? What does that mean? What are we connecting? Light and vessel. But when you talk about connection in the 10, what does it mean to connect? Desires, intentions and directions. We connect them together. We just learned for a few days now how it broke and connect. We reconnect the pieces of the souls, right? So what exactly are we connecting? I don't understand, because the soul of emotion was connected. The whole purpose was to connect it. It was connected already. So there's something that needs to be added. They went through a shattering. All the pieces broke and distanced from one another, and our purpose is to unite them again so they can be filled with the light of soul. But the soul was already connected, so there's an addition here. Otherwise that state already existed. So what's the addition? Addition is our exertion, our understanding, our desire for this to be that. We're doing it in order to give contentment to the Creator. It's a huge addition. I don't know what to say. It's the difference between a machine doing it or a human doing it from all his heart. Things that are very different. When you tell us about connection in the today, you suggested that we see 10 minutes before the lesson and think about connection. Should we keep this complete picture of what we want to connect the souls and everything? Yeah, and that to go into the connection between us and to reach the goal of bestowing contentment to the Creator as much as we can. Yeah, it all depends on that same intention that we're stabilizing in those 10 minutes. Thank you. Okay, we can go back to the text, right? We read before that in the first 3 there is one vessel that operates, and from the world of Nicodem 10 vessels. Afterwards we read in item 1 that to tab it is regarded as 9, and from tab down it is that. Why is this not regarded as 10 vessels? Why is it only 1 vessel? Vessels are 10 restrictions, 10 screens and 10 connections, meaning it's a lot of actions. Where do you see this? In other words, the NSB from PR, the filling and not the vessel. Okay. Yes, thank you, KL. Any yes, more questions, right? Yeah. What I wanted to ask about the screen, what he writes here between the upper one and lower one. The connection between the lower one and upper one does it always happen through a screen. Why is the screen the connector? Because he's incorporated from the two. One wants to be stowed to the other and the second want to be stowed to the first. The screen of the lower one does it have within it what is within it from the upper one. If it's incorporated with both, it wants to connect to the upper one, and the screen of the upper one connects to the lower one because he wants to bestow to the lower one to help him. So they connect in the screens. Where is the connection between the lower one and upper one happen in the screens? So in what exactly is the connection? It's like the inner and outer, that the screen starts rising gradually to the pen, then disappear. That's how we actually discover connection between each and every screen. Where the screen of the lower one from where does the lower one bring the screen if the upper one doesn't bring it? In from prayer, of course, from the upper one. Help you always get from above, so he gets the screen from above from the upper one in the end. Yes, so what is the prayer? He gives him a screen, and for a prayer he doesn't need a screen for the ability to pray. No, he can cry out without any screen. So what gives him? What is the addition of the screen in the connection between the lower one and the upper one? The addition in the screen from the upper one and the lower one, it's the force that connects between them. Is the connection in the prayer not enough? Because in the prayer there's also a connection made. The lower one asks and the upper one responds. There's also a connection if you're already in a prayer from you to the upper one, so you're already in connection. So why the need for the screen? Why isn't the connection of prayer enough? It could be that connection is enough, but it could be that you want to reach a very specific connection which you cannot obtain through prayer. Maybe yes, but for this you have to discover a new state, a new attitude, a new connection, a new request. What I'm trying to scrutinize is what the screen gives in terms of the connection between the lower one and the upper one, because a prayer is also a connection between lower one and upper one. Prayer doesn't connect, the screen does connect. Thank you. You had yes. Do you continue the connection between a person and his prayer? Is this the same as between the lower one and upper one? The connection between the lower one and upper one is like the connection between, you can say that. So what is common between the person and the T? That from this each one gets the forces of their T. He gets the strength of force, but what common screen is there between them? It depends what state they're in. Let's say they are in common annulment. They agree to annul before each other and work together. So what pertains to the 10? And what can a person say that he contributed to it? That belongs to the 10 because each one of the 10 ans towards the others, and then that force of annulment they have, and it turns out that each one of them receives the same result, that this force of and this is really the common screen that the 10 Reese. In other words, a person doesn't have a screen. The screen is also only in the 10. Also could be that a person has it, but it's in specific special cases, let's say. But we don't talk about that. That's not our method. The method is a 10. So how can something without a screen connect to something with a screen? Can't. Maybe they can give to one another, or that they connect between them and participate with their screens, but without a screen there's nothing to do. How does a 10 connect to the teacher? 10 connects to the only through participating together in attaining a common goal. Can we say that the 10 has a common screen, or the world CLE? We are a world CLE now. Do we have a common screen with? Yeah, through what? Through the connection between us that we want to reach, through this connection to the greater. And can we say that this is a common force or screen of the world CLE with love? Yeah, no. Can maybe it's a silly question. Where does the inner light go after the annulment? Does it become reflected light? Yes. Can. Thank you. Rar. Is it correct that the screen gives the will to receive, the intention to bestow? Yes. No. Thank you. Have you said that connection is desires and intentions connected together? How do we connect together desires and intentions? That works on 2 he unites them and connects them as 1 we should ask for it. Yes, depicting or imagining desires and connections that of the friends that they are closer to it. Is this also asking for it? Yes, okay, we are on item 2. No. What he writes, the light of the new P that was born is part of the upper surrounding light. Yeah, the upper surrounding light. I understand it is incorporated in the one. The surrounding light includes everything in it, so then the part of the next it realizes another part of it. Yes, it's like everybody's taking from the surrounding light a bit more and a bit more and bringing it under the screen in order to bestow until they receive it entirely. Know what you do. How do we come to love? What is the text that we read? The writer, ban in the dictator, the greater in the study of the F. I didn't understand anything again. How do we come to love the text that we read in the book? The writer, Bam, and the dictator, the creator, the good who does good, which we read when we study. Test. I don't have an answer. Thank you very much. It'll come in the future. Write the answer. Yeah, he'll hear it. Yes, it's not clear why there's a place. Fern. Tab from to the end is where the worlds of AIA are for that makes a calculation on the light how much to receive. Y is a place a log together from deeply to their desires to receive. They're all the desires to receive are from to T how much he can receive, how much he rejects, and that's it. What do you mean? That said, what about the rest of desires that he can't use in order to bestow? They are from Tarbo, and below we don't have any information about that. What information? Everything's in the alpha, but the direct light that hits the screen doesn't give the screen information about from Tarbo to it gives. You gives it information what it can receive, and with this it works. What P are you talking about in general? Any from where does it get information about what happens from T2? From where does it get this information? There's information in the of the it includes everything. What desires are there? They're the will to receive with the intention to be the whole of the general will to receive. Is there everything that's in A is in the was 2? Okay, thank you. That's it. What we are the 10 on duty with PT 13 today. We had a little bit of a preparation and we got it directed from you how to begin the lesson with 10 minutes, which also Gad asked about. Person comes as an individual and comes into connection with a 10 and a common intention, and we feel that in some way. It's as if you're inviting us to come with you into the lesson in a common connection of every 10 and the whole world. See a lead together. Yeah, how will there be a lesson in this way when we make such a preparation or such a powerful preparation? What should a lesson like this be like? We'll enter and see on the way. Otherwise we'll just get confused. Is this something that each one should prepare for as he comes here, that he wants to come into it together with everyone? The moment we get up and jump out of bed, we start thinking how today I'm going to go through the day, what I have to attain, who I have to connect to, and so on. Again is a without that TK. Okay. Yeah, no, I want to give a report about the convention. So friends, at the end of January